Domestic violence and child abuse, without a doubt, are two of the most troubling issues facing the family today. Each year, millions of men, women, and children secretly cope with the emotional, verbal, physical, and sexual assaults that occur. The violence between the adults in the home often spills over to the parent-child relationships. Nearly 40% of all child abuse cases occur in homes where domestic violence is an ongoing problem. Many people prefer to leave families alone to deal with the violence as a private matter. But for those of us who are entrusted with the health and well-being of children, violence in the home can undermine our efforts to educate and nurture their growth and development. It's hard to measure the impact on our classrooms and society as a whole. However, it is certain that violence at home threatens the very health and success of every student it touches. This video will address how each of us as professional educators can identify the signs of abuse among the students who may be living with violence in their homes. It will also give us some guidelines on how to respond safely to children at risk and their families. Finally, it will show us how to best utilize internal and external resources to address this issue. As we learn more about the effects that family violence has on children, it is our hope that we can all work together to bring about a positive change in the lives of students facing this issue.
You know what I'm talking about. Why'd you do that?
I didn't do anything.
Yes, you do. Why are you lying?
I'm not lying. I didn't do anything.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Scenes similar to the ones portrayed by these actors play out again and again every day across the country, with only one major difference. The people involved are not actors. The facts are overwhelming. 2 to 4 million adults are physically, verbally, sexually, or emotionally abused by an intimate partner each year. There are potentially 10 million children living in these same households. Children known as the silent or invisible victims of domestic violence who are bound by walls of secrecy and fear. And if you factor in the names and faces of nearly 3 million children who are victims of child abuse, the magnitude of family violence is almost incomprehensible. The extent of violence in the Dallas-Fort Worth area is alarming. Nearly 38,000 domestic violence cases were reported by area law enforcement agencies in 2004. Each day, law enforcement officers in Dallas and Tarrant County respond to approximately 104 family violence calls. And according to officials, this number doesn't truly represent the depth of the problem.
It is estimated that less than half of all domestic violence cases are ever reported. For the families living with domestic violence and child abuse, it is a crime of secrecy, shame, confusion, and fear. For others, it's a private matter not to be interfered with by outsiders. Domestic violence also carries a powerful stigma, a perception that something is wrong with the family. This perception is one that many of us don't want to face. As a result, potentially millions of cases of abuse and violence go unreported each year. The abuse patterns that emerge from violent households are quite disturbing. When we respond to domestic violence calls, we find that many of the abusers were abused as children. Many of the children growing up in these homes today are at great risk to become tomorrow's offenders or victims. Furthermore, arrest records show that people who were abused as children are 4 times more likely to be arrested in their lifetime than those who are not abused. Many of these kids are in for a rough time simply because in their homes and in their minds, violence is accepted and perpetuated. There are other disturbing truths connected to this complex issue. children who live in homes with an abused parent are 15 times more likely to experience child abuse than a child living in a nonviolent home. Nearly 40% of child abuse cases are reported from families experiencing domestic violence. Since 2000, the number of child abuse deaths has escalated. The most recent statistics from 2002 show that 1,400 children died as a result of child abuse. Between September 1st, 2001 and May 1st, 2004, Dallas and Tarrant County ranked second and third in the state, respectively, in the number of child deaths. Dallas County recorded 42 deaths and Tarrant County had 27. Harris County reported 106 deaths for the same period. The numbers definitely reflect the challenges facing our society.
As one of the largest child advocacy groups in the country, educators have an enormous responsibility and opportunity to be a voice for the silent victims of domestic abuse. For many of these students, your response may be the only intervention they will receive. Before you can respond, you must know and recognize the signs and symptoms of abuse. Family life provides the model for how the world operates, how relationships develop, and how people behave. Imagine if your model is filled with violence and irrational behavior. You'd likely mirror that behavior based on your experiences. Violent homes teach aggression, disrespect, negative coping skills, power and control, inconsistency, insecurity, and many more destructive behaviors. So it's not a surprise that children in these homes exhibit the same behaviors. Without intervention, the behaviors get worse. There are a variety of emotional, physical, and behavioral problems that may take root in a child who lives with domestic violence. Many of these children suffer from low self-esteem and aggression. Others may be passive, depressed, or generally anxious, experiencing guilt and self-blame. Many times, the shame and fear associated with the violence at home creates isolation, causing some children to develop few friendships outside the family. Some children display controlling behaviors, while others seek attention through unwanted behaviors. Many times, they have limited social skills and regress to less mature behaviors. At the opposite end of the spectrum, it is not uncommon for some children to become little adults, taking on grown-up responsibilities and missing out on the chance to be a child and just have fun. Problems sleeping, nightmares, stomach aches, headaches, eating disorders, drug abuse. These could be the cry for help that something may be going on in the life of that student. As you learn to recognize the signs of domestic violence, keep in mind that the response of a high school student will differ from that of a preschooler. For each age group, there are clear developmental effects that are worth examining. Physically, children from birth to 2 years may be below the average weight of other children similar to their age. They may suffer digestive problems and diminished appetite. Emotionally, you may recognize a toddler who is exceptionally irritable, sad, and anxious. Children between the ages of 2 and 6 may demonstrate a lack of bowel and bladder control. Stomach aches are also common. Emotionally, they may show signs of unusual fear, anxiety, and guilt. They may also exhibit a lack of self-confidence. Older children, 7 to 12 years old, may have ulcers and stomach aches as well. They may wet the bed, have frequent headaches, insomnia, and eating disorders. In this age group, you see signs of low self-esteem, ambivalence, denial, and secrecy, guilt, self-blame, shame, and recurring nightmares. Older children in the 13 to 18-year-old age group may still experience bedwetting, along with some of the same symptoms seen in the younger groups. In some cases, the stress at home may contribute to the development of severe acne. Their emotions can cover a wide range of feelings, including many of the same behaviors as younger children. Anger and displays of aggression may be extreme at this age. They may shift blame to others and will become tight-lipped about their feelings.